Okay, hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I am wearing a shirt that says Mom of Boys Outnumbered because I am going to be talking about homeschooling in this video. And some of you guys already know I have all boys, 3 boys, all 6 and under. So I'm going to talk about homeschooling because this kind of came like highly requested because a lot of people have been asking me for years, I gotta say, about my homeschooling methods and I guess just how I got into it, how I do it. And a lot of people, I'm so blessed that they are like really impressed by, well, I should say I'm blessed that my children are they are phenomenal. Some people are really impressed sometimes with the things that they can do and just all that they've learned and how fast they pick things up. So I would love to share. I mean, whenever people ask me about my homeschooling methods, I'm so quick to answer them. I love spreading what I know. I don't know everything, but just what I know, the knowledge that people are seeking. So before I get into it, I just want to ask you guys to like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to build my channel. I'm trying to put some more information out there about homeschooling. I want to do more Black Love videos and I want to do more Amazon finds videos. I think that's where the majority of my focus is going to go right now. I'm also going to say I am using my new camera for the second time now. I pretty much got using my phone down to a science, but I have the baby, he's sleeping, and I have the monitor right here, but I have the volume down so that you guys can't hear the noise. We have a white noise machine in there to keep him sleeping. So I'm gonna be my phone is here, he's there, I'm all over the place. So I got using my phone to record videos down to a science for the most part, but I'm still kind of figuring out this whole camera thing, the angles, the lighting, everything. So I'm sitting in front of the window in the kitchen because my last video that I used this camera for, it was so dark and it was a gloomy day and I was using a ring light and the lighting was just atrocious. So I'm just seeing how this is gonna work out and I hope it looks great. I hope the sound is great and I hope I can get this video done before all of my kids wake up. Okay, so let's just jump right into it. So I wanted this video to just talk about just almost kind of like getting that scared feeling out of some parents who might think, oh, I can't do it, I can't homeschool because ... I need this, I need that, I don't have this, I don't have that. And there's so many things you might think you need that you don't, and there's things that you might not know, not really like specific items, but things that you may not know that you need that I'm just going to go over very quickly in this video. So we're going to start off with what you don't need. This is what you don't need, okay? I didn't really put them in any specific order, but please stick around so you can hear all of the things. So I came up with 8 things that you don't need to homeschool. Okay, the first thing, you don't need to be a teacher. Come on now, you don't need to be a teacher. People will make you feel like, well, how can you homeschool if you're not a teacher? Someone said, and it wasn't specifically to me, I think I saw it on social media, and it was like, a parent was saying, this was maybe like 2-3 years ago, they were saying, I'm thinking about homeschooling my kids. What do you guys think about it? And somebody said, I look at it like this. You're not a doctor, so you wouldn't try to take the role of a doctor. Or, you know, you're not a dentist, so you wouldn't try to fix your kids' teeth by yourself. So same thing goes for teacher. You're not a teacher, so you shouldn't be trying to teach your kids. Which I think I understand where they were going with that, but it's just completely inaccurate. You can teach your kids. You can teach your children. There's nothing about teaching a child that you can't do, especially when it's your own child and you know their needs, you know their weaknesses, you know where they're strong, things like that. You can 100% teach your children, and don't let anybody make you feel like you can't, because you can do it. Especially if you're, I mean, I'm not gonna say if you're starting out while they're young. I've been their only teacher, so I know exactly what they need. I know exactly where their strong suits are. I know exactly where they struggle. I know exactly which things they need to go over more and more and more, because I am their teacher and I've been doing it this whole time. You know, now I don't know how my confidence level would be if I pulled them out of school and started teaching them in 4th grade. I might be a little bit more antsy, but that doesn't mean I can't do it. Just like you can do it. Anyone can do it. You can teach your children. So yeah, no, you don't have to be a teacher, but I will say having a background in teaching is helpful. It just gives you that extra little thing that maybe there's things that you remember from when you were teaching that you can implement into your homeschooling style. Or maybe there's different games and things, or maybe you just have that think fast on your feet thing because you did it when you were teaching. That part will help. Number 2 that I have, you don't need to know everything. And that almost kind of goes hand in hand with being a teacher. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world. I have a bit of background in teaching as well as my husband, so again, it does play a large part into it. I don't know everything. My husband, I call him a genius. He knows a whole lot more than I do, but quite frankly, I do 98% of the teaching. I still am able to figure it out on my own. Granted, my children are learning stuff that I would hope I would know by now because they're still so little and I already know how to read. It wasn't hard for me to teach them how to read. I already know how to add. I already know how to subtract, things like that. But again, I will be, God willing, teaching them 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. I'm not going to remember everything. But when it comes to it, I am still going to be able to teach them. One, the internet is there. There's so much stuff that if I'm not sure about an answer, I say, guess what, guys, we're going to learn together. My kids have asked me things that I didn't know the answer to. They have asked things that my husband didn't know the answer to, and I say, we're going to learn together. And I look up the information. I go make sure you go to a reputable site, and then you give them the answer according to that. Number 3, the third thing that you don't need in order to homeschool. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to spend a lot of money. There are so many things related to homeschool that you can get for free, and there are so many sources out there for things that are inexpensive, if not free, then inexpensive. Now, if you want to spend money on big item things you want to use to enhance it, you can. There's nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to. So, some things that I wrote down here on my list. You can get a lot of stuff from the dollar store. Trust me, I have. They have these notebooks that are good for beginning writers to write sentences and words and things like that. They're $1. In addition to that, you can find workbooks, crayons, pencils, all at the dollar store. Simple. You can spend under $100 for 2 or 3 kids for a whole homeschooling year just in the dollar store. Or Amazon. Inexpensive. You can get pretty much anything from there, and then it'll be at your house in a day or 2. Well, that's if you have Prime. So many options on Amazon, and again, I've used Amazon to get a lot of things for my teaching with the boys. And then I wrote down some inexpensive and free websites that you can also use. So for us, we use ABC Mouse. I've been using ABC Mouse since my oldest son was 2 years old, and he's now 6. I started off by paying for the year, and now I just pay monthly. And the good thing is you don't have to pay every single month. If you want to take a break for, I think they do 3 months at a time, you can take a break. They'll stop taking the money out of your account and then they'll resume. And if you need to take another break, just cancel it again before it starts. But that's what I love about ABC Mouse. And ABC Mouse covers so many things. They cover alphabet, every subject, letters, numbers, stories, reading, writing, science, social, everything. They cover so many different categories. There's games and everything. And the best thing, I'm going to talk more about how I homeschool and ideas for homeschooling in an upcoming video. I do want to say that games are a really good tool for homeschooling your children. Another website that I tell everyone about, education.com. If you only can get one, or if you only want to get one, or you don't want to be overwhelmed, go with education.com. Education.com is a free website. Now, if you do it for free, you're limited on what you can do, but I pay for it and it's like $12.99 a month. When you subscribe to them, you get unlimited worksheets, games, lesson plans, science activities, pretty much anything you want. For instance, this week I'm teaching the boys about food. So did the different food groups, healthy foods versus not healthy foods. If I get on education.com and type in food groups or foods and then choose the age range or the school, the grade, like 1st grade, kindergarten, it'll give me a list of everything that they have in that category. So whether it's games, worksheets, lesson plans, anything you could need. And it's the best thing ever, because even on the times where I'm not on top of the things that I need to do, and I'm like last minute, like, oh crap, I didn't come up with anything to do this week for the activity, type that right in, print it out, boom, we already got a worksheet, we already got games lined up. It's amazing. And you can do the same thing with whatever your child is doing at that time, whether they're adding, subtracting, you could just put subtraction and then choose games or worksheets or whatever it is that you would like to use. So love them. And then another one that we've been using for less than a year now is, I'm not actually sure how they pronounce this. I don't know if it's ABCYA or if it's ABCya or if it's ABCya. It's one of those things, but it's basically abcya.com. And that one, I do not pay for it, but you can still access a lot of games for free on there. And as far as I can see, it's I think it's just games. I have never really sat and extensively looked at the website, but the kids love it. When they have a choice on what computer game they're gonna do, a lot of times they do like ABC here because it's so many different games on there that cover so many different categories. I also put down that as far as items are concerned, you can use things like Facebook swap groups. If you have any in your community, there's so many in the area where we live or the area where we frequent. And then also Facebook Marketplace. I mean, if you type in anything that you might be looking for that's homeschool related, you might be looking for a desk for your kids to sit at. You might be looking for a free, or maybe not free, but an inexpensive computer. You might be just looking for posters for your children's workspace, or what am I trying to say, like construction paper or pencils or something. Sometimes people are just giving it away, or they just had an abundance of it, or they used to teach and they don't anymore. So there's so many options out there of where you can get free and inexpensive things for your homeschooling. Number 4, the 4th thing you don't need as a homeschooling parent is to be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad, a stay-at-home parent. It's obviously a little bit easier if you're already home anyway, but I hear so many moms, and I wish I had more advice, and I really don't, but I hear so many moms saying that they want to homeschool their kids, but they can't, or they don't know how they could possibly do it because they work, or they have a job, or maybe they have 2 full-time jobs. They don't know how they can fit it in their schedule. But I also hear a lot of moms say, oh, it's completely doable. I work 2 jobs. There was a dad, I think I saw this on Instagram, who worked 2 jobs, and he was a single father to like 4 children, and he was homeschooling his kids. It is possible. Now, you may have to be creative about what you do and about how you line things up, but it's possible to do it. For one, you don't have to homeschool during certain hours. It's not like you have to homeschool from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. like typical school hours. You can do 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. You can homeschool in the evening if you're working during the day. There's different ways around that. And I'm actually going to talk to some moms who maybe are, or moms and dads who work full-time jobs and who homeschool, so I can give more advice about that, because I would love to be able to answer that question a little better. But I've kind of been home most of the time with my kids, so it was a little bit easier for me. Number 5, the 5th thing that you don't need in order to homeschool your children is a homeschool room. I personally love to have a homeschool room because for me, I just feel like it works better for me. That's just my personal opinion. It's not for everybody. Some people just have a homeschool space. Maybe they have a desk area or a table area in their kitchen off to the side where the kid does all the learning there, or maybe in their bedroom, especially now with COVID going on and a lot of parents are home with their children as they virtually learn. A lot of parents I am seeing that are setting up workstations in their kids' room. But let's say you don't have the extra space. Let's say you just don't have an extra table or any space in your kitchen or anything like that. That's fine. You can still homeschool without having a homeschool room. A fellow homeschool mom told me about someone who has 4 kids, I think, that she homeschools, and their homeschool stuff, she keeps it in 1 box. She keeps everything they need for homeschooling in 1 box per child. When it's time for them to learn, they take the things out of the box that they need at that time. When they're done, they put it away. So there's never this abundance of stuff everywhere, and they're always able to learn wherever they are pretty much. Maybe the kitchen table is what's available at this moment. Maybe another day is in the living room. It just depends on that day. So you don't need this big room. You don't need this big space. It's helpful to have a space that's just for it, but it's not needed. And I don't want anyone to be discouraged, like, oh my God, I don't have any space to do it. I don't have a room. I don't have whatever. It doesn't matter. You can still do it. So number 6, the 6th thing that you don't need to have for homeschooling is you don't have to pay for a curriculum. I started to pay for a curriculum when my oldest son started kindergarten last year, and then I was advised by OG homeschool moms, don't even worry about it. Don't even get a curriculum. At least wait until he's in the 1st grade. So now my oldest son is in the 1st grade, and I kind of, with the pandemic and everything going on, I was a little frantic about finding a curriculum and buying one and what I was gonna do as far as teaching him. And I ended up just saying to myself, well, I've been making the curriculum this whole time. He's excelling. He's extremely smart. All three of my children, well, I can't say all three of them. The baby's only 8 months. I don't know how smart he is, but both of my older children are very intelligent. So what I've been doing seems to be working. So I'm not going to beat myself up over a curriculum. Maybe I'll do it for second grade. I haven't really decided. But for now, let's say you don't want to make a curriculum. Let's say you don't know the first thing about making a curriculum. You would have to check in your state, but I believe that you can just use the curriculum that your local school uses, which means that takes all the guesswork out of it for you. You have the curriculum right there, you follow it, that's it. So you don't have to put all this money into buying these curriculums, and I'm sure some of them are amazing. I have heard of some really good ones, but you don't have to put the money into just buying these curriculums that cost a lot of money, especially if you just don't have it. Number 7, and this is the last thing that I have on the, no, sorry. This is the second to last. You do not have to structure homeschool like traditional school. Let me repeat that. You don't have to structure homeschool like traditional school because they're not in traditional school. They're being homeschooled. So you teach as if you're homeschooling. I think the phrase is something like, you are homeschooling, not schooling at home, or something like that. The difference is, you're not bringing school into the house in the sense of, you have to do this at this time, this at this time, you need to raise your hand when you ask a question, you need to do this, you need to answer that. You don't have to have that structure. You don't have to work from 9 to 12 and then have lunch from 12 to 12:30 and then recess, and you're at home. So you structure it and make it as comfortable as it can be at home. Now for me, I am all about organization, planning, and things like that. So I would actually go crazy if I didn't have some structure. I need like 99, maybe 95% structure, and then I can like relax back from it. But I have to have the structure to begin with before I can start relaxing, because if I start off with all this relaxation, we won't do anything. I'd be sitting here watching TV all day. So definitely work with what works best for you, and you have to learn your own homeschooling style. But you don't have to, the whole point that I'm making is that you don't have to beat yourself up to try to make it exactly like school, because it's not traditional school. And then the last thing that you don't need in order to homeschool is your family support. And I used to think that you did need that. It would be amazing. I think as long as the people in your household are okay with it and agree with it and it works for them, that's all that matters. When I decided that I wanted to homeschool, I brought it up to my husband and he was just like, no. And our oldest son was not even a year old yet. And I was like, well, why not? And he's like, well, because kids are supposed to go to school. And I'm like, yeah, but says who? Like, why do they have to go to school? Can't they just learn at home anyway? I'm already, teaching him little things here and there. And so we did a pros and cons list. The pros greatly for us, they greatly outweighed the cons, and we said, let's just go for it. And if it doesn't work, we send them to school. And here we are 5 years later, and it's still working for us. In our household, my husband agreed, I agreed, the kids love it, so it works. Now, it does suck. It feels bad when you don't have the support of all your family. You want all your family to be there. You want your parents and your siblings and your cousins and aunts and best friends and everybody to cheer you on and agree that you're making a good decision. And you want them to see that schooling from home is just as good as schooling at a traditional school. And sometimes it just doesn't work like that. So you just have to let it go. And then sometimes people do come around. I will say that. Sometimes when you feel like you have no support, you'll realize after people see, wow, they've been doing this for X amount of time. The kids are really smart. The kids are doing great. The kids are social, this, that, and the other thing. Then you might see that people are relaxing their standards a little bit as far as being against homeschool, or maybe not even against it, but maybe just not all the way for it. So, yeah, you don't need that family support. It's amazing to have it, but you can build your own homeschool community and you'll have a new family of people that surround you and love on you in your homeschool journey. So now, my list of things that you do need are a little less detailed and it's a little shorter. So I have 7 things that you do need. 1, you need to be secure in your decision to homeschool. And this kind of like ties into the 8th thing you don't need for homeschooling, and that's family support, or just support in general, other than, like I said, the people in your household. But the reason I'm saying you need to be secure in it is because you're gonna feel some days like what am I doing? I didn't make the right decision. I haven't felt that in a while, but I used to feel that feeling all the time. Like, what am I doing? These kids need to be in school. These kids need to be in school. When I tell you I really am trying to learn this camera, I just had a whole situation. The camera, I ran out of space. Right now, I'm pretty sure I look blurry. I really hope I'm not. I can't really tell. Let me just try to pick up where I was. If you're not secure in your decision, then another thing that I found is that when people have something to say and when people have questions, you might feel, it depends on really your personality, but I know for me, I would feel kind of timid about answering questions because I would feel like, you know, I think it was blurry. If you're not secure in your decision, then I know for me personally, I've had times where I feel like I was secure, but maybe my security was not where it is now. And when people would ask me questions, I would be really timid about answering them. And I would be scared that I was gonna say something dumb, or I'd be scared that they would ask me something I couldn't answer. And so now, even if I can't answer it, I give the best answer that I can. Or, you know, I'll tell them, you know, we're still figuring things out. Because honestly, I'm still figuring things out. I haven't been doing this for, you know, 20 years or anything like that. I've been doing it for 4 years, 5 years. And there are a lot of things that I still don't know. But at the end of the day, I'm extremely confident and secure in the decision that I made to homeschool my children, because the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in my children and everything that they have learned throughout this whole entire journey. The second thing that you need to do, that you need in order to homeschool, is to know the laws in your state. I can answer certain questions about homeschooling, but one, I don't know every single law in my state. I know that New Jersey is more lax than pretty much any other state. I think they are the most lax state as far as their rules on homeschooling. But you need to know the laws for your state, because if I answer a question that's for New Jersey, but you live in Georgia, then you may not be doing the right thing if you listen to what I said, because I don't know. I don't know everything for every state. And I can answer questions to the best of my ability, but I can really only answer what I know from New Jersey. So yes, definitely it's very important to know the laws for your state. The third thing is to have a plan. You need to come up with a plan. You can't just wake up one morning and say, I'm going to start homeschooling today, because then you'll probably never do it again. You'll be all over the place. You'll be stressed, and then you're going to drive yourself crazy, and the kids will probably drive you crazy as well. So definitely you need to have some kind of plan in place, whether that plan is I'm going to homeschool from there. Even if you're not extremely structured, you still need to say to yourself, okay, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to teach my kids from 9 to 11. And then every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm going to teach them from 3 to 5, or whatever the case may be. There has to be the start of some sort of plan. You can't just go into it blind. It probably won't work out. The next thing I'm going to say, it kind of goes hand in hand with having a plan. You need a schedule. You need some sort of schedule. You don't have to be extremely structured in order to have a schedule. That's not what I mean by schedule. Because some people don't even, I mean, they wake up when they feel like waking up. You know, that doesn't work in my house. I wish it did, because my kids wake up extremely early, so I have no choice but to be up. But, you know, you don't have to say everybody needs to be up at 7. Everybody needs to be eating by 7:30. In my house, it works because it keeps my sanity, it keeps the kids sane, it just works for us. But you don't have to do that, but you do need to have some sort of schedule. Maybe your schedule is Mondays we do science, Tuesdays we do social studies, Wednesday we do math. There has to be, again, the plan and the schedule. It has to be something in place so that you know where you're going. You're not kind of like all over the place. The fifth thing that I wrote that you need is energy. Now, maybe it differs. Well, I'm not going to say maybe. It definitely differs from family to family, child to child, depending upon the age and things like that. But I know for me, with an 8-month-old, a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, and they're all boys. Sometimes boys have a little bit more energy. And I know for me, my children have like endless energy. They wake up at like 6 a.m. with a fully charged battery from going to sleep the night before, ready to just, soon as they wake up, just ready to go, ready to go. So for me, I have to have energy. And another reason I say energy is because last year, my husband helped out with homeschooling. He had one day a week where he taught them so that I could have a little bit of time to myself, especially because I was pregnant with the baby. So he taught them on Thursdays while I just got to relax. And sometimes I would hear him, and I am not judging my husband. Sometimes I would hear him First of all, he would just already be tired. And I think he was tired because he probably just didn't feel like doing it. So he would just walk in with his coffee and he'd be yawning. And he would just look like he was just tired and sleepy, like he didn't get enough rest. Then he would start teaching. He'd be like, all right, y'all, so we're talking about foods this week, right? All right, so what food starts with the letter L? And I'm like, oh my God. He reminded me of the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I'm just like, you have to have energy. And I've learned that. I've been dog tired. First of all, if I'm too extremely tired, we take the day off. Like, look, guys, I'm not up for it. We're taking the day off. If I'm extremely aggravated, like I woke up on the wrong side of the bed and nothing that morning and nothing's working to get my energy up and to get me feeling better, then it'll be another day where I'm like, okay, we're taking a day off, guys. We'll learn tomorrow. If I am a little bit tired, I get past it. When you have children, especially as young as my kids, you really can't go in there with no energy. So for me, I constantly, you know, if I see them getting bored, if I see them looking like they're not interested, I gotta start dancing, I gotta start singing, I gotta do something funny, I gotta make a face, I have to write something silly on the board. If we're talking about words that start with the letter B, then I'll, you know, say booger or something like that. Anything to get them laughing, get their energy up, because you can't be boring, you have to have some energy, especially when you have little kids like me. Now, I don't know, I've never had a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old, so I don't know if when they get a little older, like 8, 9, 10, maybe the energy doesn't have to be up to here, but right now, with the children being the age that they are, my energy has to be all the way up here because their energy is all the way up there. They can't be up here and I'm way down here because the whole house will go crazy. So the sixth thing that I think you need in order to homeschool is patience. Something that I never thought I had. I never thought I had patience. And during this homeschool journey, I record and put out there on social media some of the things that the children do, just little snippets here and there, things that they do, things that they've learned, just, I guess, people even just seeing all of what I do with the kids. And people tell me all the time, oh my God, you have so much patience. And I say, you know what, I never thought I had patience, but the more I hear it, I guess I do. I guess I have more patience than I ever thought I had. And when you think about it, yes, I'm home here with these boys for a good amount of the day, for a good amount of days out of the week. And yeah, it tests my patience. It definitely tests my patience, but I guess I have maybe not a whole lot, but I definitely have more than I've ever given myself credit for. So yes, you do need some level of patience. And even forget about the fact that my children are little. Even if your kids are older, maybe they're getting into the age of having attitudes, or maybe they're getting into the age of where they want to talk back, or maybe they just don't want to do the work. You need to have patience for all of that. You need to have patience for everything that a teacher in a school goes through for 8 hours a day or however many hours a day with 15 to, I don't know, 25 students in their class, all the different personalities. You have to have the patience of dealing with that in your own house with your own kids, because you're not essentially sending them to school, you're home with them. And the last one was more like funny than anything, but I guess it's also true. Number 7, you have to like your kids. If you can't stand being with your kids all day, if you get annoyed by your kids easily, and I'm not judging anybody, then it's probably not the best for you. If you know you're gonna spend the whole time yelling, if you know your kids get on your last doggone nerve, if you know being with them all day just isn't for you, then homeschooling probably isn't for you. It's less of not liking your kids, because obviously that's more of a joke. I hope everyone likes their kids, but I guess it too just goes back into like the patience thing. So yes, that is my list that I came up with on the spur of the moment of things that I personally think you don't need just to get that anxiety off of you. These are the things you don't need in order to homeschool, and then these are the things you do need in order to homeschool. There's some of it is real obvious stuff, like you do need to check the laws in your state, but everything is not factual. Is really just my opinion about what you need and don't need in order to homeschool. So if you are really thinking about homeschooling, especially, you know, since this pandemic happened, I've heard probably double the amount of people that I've ever heard before talking about, I think I might just continue homeschooling even when the world is safe again, even when the world opens back up, or I've been thinking about homeschooling and now I think I'm actually just gonna go ahead and do it. This kind of pushed me into it. I think it's wonderful. I think it's amazing. Is it gonna be easy? Probably not, but is it gonna be worth it in the long run? Most likely, yes, if it works out for your family. I don't believe that homeschooling is for everyone, and I would never try to push it on someone who wasn't already thinking about it, or somebody who wasn't serious about it, because I don't even think that's fair to do that. So yes, I've seen just more people than ever actually thinking about it, and I do think it's awesome. But definitely my number one tip would be do a pros and cons list. Do a pros and cons list and really think about, okay, what is going to be beneficial about homeschooling? What is going to be hard about homeschooling? So when we did our list, if I can find it, I'll actually put a picture here. We did homeschooling here, traditional schooling, pros of each, cons of each. The pros of homeschooling just outweighed the pros of traditional school, and vice versa for the cons. So it just ended up working out, and it ended up being the best decision for us. So if you like this video, and I hope you did, I hope I wasn't rambling, I hope I was making sense. Again, I am a little all over the place. I'm nervous about the kids waking up, and then the baby is, my battery's about to die. The baby's asleep, but the sound is not on, so I have to keep looking down here, and then I'm in front of this window, and it's still sunny outside, so I keep looking out the window. I'm still trying to figure out how to use this camera, so please bear with me, guys. And I really hope that you like this video. So if you have a suggestion, please comment below. The comments will help my channel, for one, and then two, they will also help me know like what direction to go in, because I want to give you guys the information. This series of videos was requested by several people, so I really hope you guys take the time to watch it and just give me some feedback on what I could do better, what more you need to know, and what questions you have. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. I appreciate it. Comment, like, subscribe. I appreciate you for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day.